Sure, you can just share your screen if you don't mind.
Yes, just wait.
Okay. Welcome again to the session Azure Networking. We have Yasin Chowdhury with us today, who will be walking us through the Azure networking parts and what are the things you should be concentrating on. And talking about Yasin, he is a Microsoft certified trainer and Azure administrator, cloud administrator. So he will be walking us on all the topics and he'll be helping you with how to learn and what are the things you have to be concentrating on. And let us hear from him. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Surak. So, as Surak said, I am Yasin Kobi Chaudhary. I will be here to give you a demonstration about Azure networking. This is me. I'm Azure administrator as well as system administrator and network engineer. I have got some certification like Azure administrator, CCNA. For MikroTik, I did MTCRE and MTCNA. So I will try to cover most of the service and components of Azure networking. So it will be a little bit long session, I think so. So I am starting now, not taking too much for intro and other things. So today's agenda, we have a bit of 20 agendas to take about the Azure networking. We will start with virtual networks, VNet and subnet. Then we will go through the public, private IP and static dynamic IP, because without this, it will be very difficult to know or understand about the other things or services in the Azure networking. Then we will go route table and rules of route, how the message or connection will go through from your network, and then we will go some security service like network security group, ingress and egress security rules. It means the inbound and outbound security, how you maintain the security for incoming your data or outgoing your data. Then we will have a service endpoint. This is a service type of uh, you know platform as a service type service, and then we will go for application security group. This one will be how you secure your application. If there is an application in your network, then we will go for Azure firewall manager. We know, maybe most of them we know about firewall. It may be software or hardware dependency. And then we will go for net gateway is a connectivity service. Then Azure DNS is a DNS service, domain name server. Then we will go for load balancer, how we will think about traffic. Application gateway is the same as we maintain traffic, how we maintain the traffic in your application. Then is a bastion host, it is also security purpose. It is related with application. So I'm taking after this one. It can be in the front side in beginning, but I will make it little bit later because it is related to the applications. Then we will go for again a traffic as your traffic manager, how we maintain traffic. Then there will be some private networks like express route, which is only for Azure, like VPN. And then normal VPN gateway, it's a general VPN gateway, how we make the general VPN gateway in Azure and your premises, cloud and your on premise. And then we'll for local network gateway, that one is related with the VPN gateway. And we will wrap up with the session with VNet peering, how we connect with two virtual network. Before that, we will think about IP. Without IP, the network is nothing. So first of all, we will start with IP. What is IP and other things, some little bit things about IP. IP stands for Internet Protocol, and it works something like postal system. Postal system, what we did, we give, when we post a message, we in the envelope, we write down the sender's address and receiver address. Like this, when a message or connection request came to the system, takes takes two IPs. One is for source IP, where it's coming from, and destination IP, where it will go. When this connection is established, then you can send message from them. So IP is very important to make the connections and communication. Then the properties of a IP address. Always IP address will be 32-bit binary numbers, not decimal. It's a binary numbers. Computer knows the binary numbers as we know everyone. And we know the decimal number. So there is a conversion between decimal and binary. If you know the conversion, it will be better. But if you don't know, or you may forget, then you can go through the others tutorials in YouTube or Google. And we will divide it, the 32 bits in 8 binary bits. It means we have 4 octet in total 32-bit binary bits. Octet means 8 binary bits. We make it as we know as this one is an octet. So 8 binary bit is 1 octet, and we have 4 octet in one IP address. These are the properties. And as we know, this is a logical address. This is not a physical address. You cannot see this address in any devices. It is a logical address. For example, we have one example here, 192.168.0.1. This one a decimal IP address which we can understand, but in binary format, if you convert 192, it will be 11 and 60 because it is 8 bits, and dot 168 will be 10101 and then 30. 0 is always all the 8 bits will be 0, and 1 will be 5, 6, 7 bit will be 0, and last bit will be 1. I'm telling again that if you have a problem with the conversion, please go through the other tutorials. Then octet in IP address. As I told that there is a 4 octet. Every octet is 8-bit binary. And as we know that everything has a range. So here IP address also has a range. Every octet has a range. Range is minimum it can be 0 and maximum it will be 255. Every octet is the same range of values. So I'm just going fast because this one is not in the Azure networking syllabus or Azure networking topics, but I'm telling this one for basic. We have divided 5 classes in IP address. This is the division of IP address, and values are ranging from 0 to 55. And always we remember that this class we can identify from the first octet. If the first octet is 0 to 127, then we will say this one is class A IP address. If it is 128 to 191, then we will say that this one is class B address. If it is 192 to 223, then it will be class C address. If it is 224 to 239, then it will be class D address. And if it is 240 to 255, then it will be a E address. And there is a one special address 127, we say as a loopback address or device address. We cannot use this 127 in any computer. So this is the range class A from 0 like this. As I told that these first bit will be identify which class it is. So 0 it is class A, 127 from class A to 127. Class B will be 128 to 191. Class C will be 192 to 223. Class D will be 224 by from 239, and C will be 240 to 255. Another thing, I'm just make it addition that class ABC were normally use. You're using class ABC always, but class D and E we are not using. Class D is used for this range of IP address we use for multicast and also some research use. And class E is for reserve. If in future we need it, then we can use this one. So it is in the reserve. Network bit and host bit. There is another thing in IP address about network bit and host bit. How you know that this IP address is how many network it has or how many host it has. Host means how many PCs, how many endpoint you can use, and network bit is how many network you can use. For class A address, there is only one octet. It means 8-bit will be network bit and other 3 bits, 24 bits will be host bit. Plus B, there will be 1616. It means first 2 octet means 8-bit, 16-bit will be network bit, and last 16-bit will be host bit. And C, first 3 octet, it means 24 bits will be network bit and last 8-bit will be host bit. It means if you have a large network, then you have to use net C. Large network means lot of networks in your premises or in your office or in your organization, then you will go for C. And if you have a your medium type, then you have B. And if you have suppose less network but host is in the one network, there are a lot of hosts, but network is less, then you can use A class IP addresses. So now we start and a virtual network and VNets in Azure. An Azure virtual network is a logical boundary of a private network. As I told that IP is logical, like this Azure virtual network is also a logical network of an Azure. The Azure resources can securely connect via internet or on premises by VNet. VNet means these logical boundaries, under these logical boundaries, there can be resources like VM or any DBs or firewall or anything, any resources Azure. Then it can be used, you can connect with this securely with the internet or on premises via VNet. Means on premises means you have in your office there is a network, and in the Azure cloud you have another network, so you can connect with them in securely. And after that is a virtual subnet. Virtual subnet is what? With the subnet, we can divide a virtual network, a full virtual network, which we read just now. This virtual network can be divided by multiple networks. One virtual network can be divided 3, 4, 5 networks. And each network is called subnets, virtual subnets. From each virtual subnets, we can assign VMs. On that subnets, we can assign VMs. NICs means network interface card and other resources associated with them for as per requirements, as your requirements need, like this. So now I can go for in the portal to check what is the virtual networks and virtual subnets. This is my portal, John 210. This is my portal for Microsoft Azure. Now, first of all, you have to know that whenever you want to create anything, first of all, we have to create a resource group. Resource group is nothing, just like a container where you can put lot of resources. Resources means VMs and everything. And this is, subscription. You can use any subscription what you have. I'm using my one. So first of all, I am making my resource group to create. When you put it create, then this is the subscription again. I'm putting my subscription. Then resource group. Any group you can give. I give test. Caps lock test. And the region, there's a lot of regions. So just as default, East US, I'm using East US. Then review and create. Review means it will check the validation. Every parameters I have given is okay or not. If it is passed, then we'll go for create. It will take some time to create a resource group. Not too much time, I think. Yes, now it's done. So it's go to resource group. From here, notification, you can check there is some notifications will come. Okay, now resource group came. This is a test resource group. There is no resource already. Whenever we create resources, this will come here. So my resource group is ready. Now I will go for virtual networks. So normally, as I work in my uh, portal so frequently, so these things are frequently I work, so it comes here. But normally, if you don't have this, if you don't find this one here, you can check from here, or there is another way. For global search, you can just write virtual. No, here's the virtual networks. Click virtual networks. It's came. There is no virtual network, so I have to create my virtual networks. So this is the creation of virtual networks. Just we read. So create same. When the subscription came, just check. Yes, my subscription is this one. So I'm taking this one. Now resource group. From here, you can create new resource group, but no need here because I already created one. And it will come here. So it's came here. It's a test. We will put this virtual networks in a resource group of container like test. So name. So I select the test VNet 1. Just keep. And region, I make it same as East US. Then next is the IP address. So I'm going IP address. Normally this VNet is like this. It is, its IP address is 10.0.0.0.0 by 16. 16 is CID notation. It is telling that 16-bit, this 2-bit is network bits. 10.0, this part is network, means 8 bits is network, and others 8-bit is host. So this is the default IPv4 address space they are giving, that you have this type of host. You can, means 65556 addresses here is written. You can check 65553 addresses. This amount of addresses you can use your in this network, but you can manually, or you can use, you can assign your one also, like 192 to 168 like this with CID notation. But I'm just keeping this one as they give. Now here is the subnet. This is virtual net and this is subnet. So this is subnet. One is default. It is like this 10.0.0.0/24. Now I am taking two subnet more. Add subnet here. So I'm just subnet A. So this is the email subnet address range I have to give. So it will be 10.0 dot, this two is network address, so I cannot use this one. 1.0, sorry, 0/24. So this is one subnet we make. So this is, you can check that they are telling that normally I have 255 address, 256 address I can use, but they're telling I can use 251 address and plus 5 Azure reserve address. Azure reserve address means one is for network address, another one is for broadcast, and but and more three means 10.0.1.1.2.3. These three IP address will reserve for Azure for their internal backend use. So that's why we cannot use 5 address. We can use only 251 addresses. And there is some things net gateway we will talk about later. So I'm not taking the here and not giving anything here. So it is add, just click add, it will come here. So it's come here. So again, I am telling another subnet. Subnet B. Now it will be 10.0.2.0/24. Sorry, 424. Now it's came same as it is. I keep it same as it is and just click. If there is any service, then there is a lot of this endpoint service we will talk about later. Now add. So here we made two subnet in this virtual network. Now go for security. Security bastion host. DDoS protection, we know, is a phishing protection, and firewall, as you know, I make it as a disable. If I make it enable, it's a cost effective, and firewall is a little bit expensive service in Azure. So I make it as it is disable. Now, then tags. Tags means, suppose I create this virtual network only for any specific department, like IT department or uh, accounts department or management department, then we can give it a tag. So it will be understand easily that I'm using these resources for that particular reasons. So we can use tag, and also tag can be used as a uh, for price calculation. Suppose these resources, but this stack of resources is pricing is like this. So when we will give for billing system, then it help us to understand the pricing. So here now review and create. It is reviewing for validation. If validation is okay, if all the parameters is okay, yes, validation passed, then it is create. The deployment initializing, creating done, submitting deployment. Look, there is a backend process, and backend process every message you are coming here. For deployment in progress, it's taking some time, and we have to give this time. So deployment is succeeded. So go to resources, click here resources. Yes, now this is test vnet 1. It's a one virtual network. In the under virtual network, we have subnets. These are the three subnets. One is default and others is subnet A and subnet B. If you can delete default also or use default also, it's up to you. I just say keep it. It's not a problem. So this is the end of virtual network and subnets. Yeah. Now this is the VNet. Here is the graphical representation of VNet. This is the VNet, full logical boundaries, and these are the subnet A, and this one is another subnet B. Just we show you. And this one is the NIC. This NIC means NIC card, just giving a identification that every VM, this one is the uh, VM icon and virtual machines icon, and these are the NIC icon, means every machine has a NIC, and this one is the connectivity, just giving the representation of graphical representation of virtual net and subnet. Now some IP address again. What is public IP address and what is private IP address? Public IP address is the address that is assigned to a device to allow direct access over the internet. A web server, email server, or any devices directly accessible from the internet are candidates for a public IP address. It means suppose in your uh, office or in your home, you make a web and you want to you want that outside of the internet, outside of your network, suppose who are the using internet, anyone from the world can access your service or your web. Then you will put this IP address in your computer or PC with some configuration in the router. Then all others user, all the world users who have the access of internet, they can access your service through the internet or web service through the internet. So this is the public IP address. It is routable, international routable. It means internationally it can be routed, and sellable. Sellable means you have to give some money of taking you have to buy this public IP address. This is a unique IP address for every devices. It can be duplicate. Then private IP address. Private IP address is a IP address space located in NIC. NIC means network interface card. In our computer, every computer there is a NIC. So private IP address, we put it in the NIC, and it will be in your network. It does just opposite of public. In your network, everyone can use access this one, but from the outside of the your network, nobody can access your PC with this IP address, and it is not international routable, and it is non-sellable. It is totally free. Range of private IP address. Class A IP address range is 10.0.0. Just we put some IP address 10.0. This is the private IP address. And ending is 10.255.255.255. Total number of host of, it means total number of IP you can use in your network is 16777.216. Then class B, it is starting with 172.16.0.0, and it will ending the IP with 172.31.255.255. And the host you can use this one is 104.8576. And class C address will be 192.168.0.0. And the ending IP will be 192.168.255.255.255. And the number of IP you can use is 65536. And all the rest, without this, all the rest IPs are public IP address that you have to, if you want to use, then you have to buy those IP address. So another is static versus dynamic IP address. Static IP address is that type of IP address that administrator, network administrator, or system administrator manually assign in your PC this IP address, and it is always static unless you manually change it. It can be changed automatically. So this is static IP address. It is normally used for hosting website, providing any emails and database and FTP services in your network. And dynamic means in a network, if there is in a network, if there is any like DHCP service or DHCP server, then that service or server will give the computer in that network IP address in automatically. It means dynamically. It will go for randomly. Suppose if you're using one IP address for 10 days or 15 days, all of a sudden you can check that your IP address maybe change or maybe not, maybe change. So this is a dynamic IP address. It is called dynamic IP address. So this is the route table. Route table means routing means how your data is routed. It means how your data is going, in which way. This is routed table. So this is a network. And this one is your on-premise. On-premise means on-premise office. In the same office, we have a virtual network here in Azure. There is a virtual set of machines with subnet A, subnet 1, sorry, subnet 1. Under subnet 1, there is a virtual machines. There is a virtual appliances, and there is some other virtual machines as subnet 2. And here we have another virtual network 2 now, and there is another service endpoint, which one is storage type Azure, and with VPN gateway we are connecting with these networks. Means on-premise networks is connected with VPN gateway to the our virtual network. So suppose normally when we create route table or routing, then there is a default settings. There is a default settings automatically added or assigned in your network. But if you want to make it as your user defined, suppose you have some rules in routing, you don't want to use the default, then you can change or override, not change, actually override that router table. So suppose here in this architecture, it is showing that if service endpoint, if I'm starting from storage Azure, if anyone from this subnet or here want to go for storage Azure service network service endpoint, then they have to go with this subnet. They have to go connect first this subnet, then they can go with service endpoint. By this way, suppose if anyone from virtual machines of these subnets, any subnets for any virtual network from here or any virtual machines for subnet 2 wants to connect with enterprise, it means your on-premise data or on-premise network through the VPN gateway, then they should connect with virtual appliance, these machines. Without connecting these machines, they cannot connect with these enterprise. So this is virtual appliance. And if anyone wants to connect with this virtual network from this virtual network, that also they have to first connect with virtual appliance, virtual appliance, and then they can go for here. So this is the user defined. So look at here is the some subnets here. They are telling that these subnets is the user defined routes. These have a user defined these routes here, these subnets routes that they can use this one. So I'm going to the portal again to check clearly. Okay. First of all, route tables. First of all, we have to create one route table. So like this, create subscription, taking my subscription. There can be your subscription. Taking resource group as I created. Southeast Asia is here. No, we will go for East US. Always try to make the region same. Otherwise, the resources will not come properly, because one resource for East US, it's that resource will not come here. Name, route, sorry. Propagate gateway routes. This is a advanced networking for Azure. I'm just keeping here it as it is. Tags we know, so I'm not going there. Just create review and create. As we know, it is taking some time for validation. Yes, validation passed. Now create. It will create now. Now deployment is in progress. Always you can check here about the process. Taking some time. Yes, now it's done. So go to resources. Here is the route T. We have make one route table. There is no route here, so we will make a routes. So first of all, subnets. Associate. Which subnet we want to associate with this route table. So we have one VNet. It came here automatically. If it is two, then there is option of select. So subnet. Suppose we make subnets default subnets as a. We associate this subnets as a with this route table. And again, I can associate this one subnet A also if we want. Already this is associate, so this telling that you cannot be. So subnet A, another one I can put here. So these two subnet is coming here in the route table. Now we will go for route. Route means how it will go. So add route name. Suppose we go for on-prem, on-premise data. Sorry, must be begin with prem. IP address, CID notation. It means destination where we will go. Suppose our on-premises network is 192.168.1.0 by 24. This is my on-premises network. And what is the next stop means how, in which way it will go. So I am telling here that my virtual network gateway will be there, and my virtual network, they will go through my virtual network. Next stop address, now no need, because already I said that this one is virtual network address gateway. Or suppose like this, if we want to make like this way that all machines will go one virtual appliance, then there is the option of virtual appliance, this one, then you can put the next hop address, means there's that virtual machine address here. So now because I'm going for directly my on-premise, so I will give virtual network gateway, then I will go add. I'm not just keeping here add, just telling you. So what does it mean? It means that these subnets, just we associate this default and subnet A, any PCs from those subnets is one are wants to go in the my on-prem network, then they will go via virtual network gateway. This is the my way. Or if we go like this, the next virtual appliance, then we can put virtual appliance here, then right here, like this. So this is the way to making route and route table. Now network security group. Network security group is nothing but like a firewall who can manage your traffic, who can control your inbound and outbound traffic. Traffic means how you will control your access from outbound or inbound. There are some rules. With these rules, you can control them with some protocols also. Protocols means which protocol? Suppose in ping protocols or ping for ICMP protocols, TCP/IP, UDP, HTTP protocol for website, any website access, or RDP protocol for remotely connect. If you want to anyone remotely connect from outside of the network in your network, so you can access, deny this type of things you can do in network security group. I'm going again in the my portal, so it will be easy for you to hands-on to check the hands-on. So again, I'm home. And again, I am from network security group. Just write NSG, it will come automatically. Network security groups. Click here. So as we know, always we have to create if there is no network security group. Create here my then resource group as it is test name. You can put name NSG test or test NSG, it will be better. Test SG region. I put East US as it is. Tags we know tag we no need to look at tag. Now review create for validation. Creating. Now it's done. I just create. Now it's for deployment. Yes, it is in progress. No, now. So go resources. Here's the resources. There is a lot of options there. So normally by default, there is some rules here. This is inbound rules. It is rules as allow VNet bound. All VNet will be virtual networks will be allowed here. All load balancer will be allowed in any port from any protocol. Source will be any virtual network, destination from the any virtual network allow. And deny all bound, no deny. It means all are allowed. Deny no bound, all inbound means any deny is there. There is telling that any port, any protocol, any source, any destination, there will be no deny. There is no option of deny. Everything is open here. So it is written here deny. Deny means deny is deny. And same as outbound from outside of the network, all can be accessible and there is no deny. Suppose if you want to make one add at inbound security rules or outbound security rules, then just create add. Here you'll find add, then source, any source. Suppose if you can IP address source also, take the source of IP address from this source you want to off RDP, then you will write here that source address. Any network address you can write or source address you can write here. This is for IPv4. This is written here and it is also supported IPv6. So I'm here taking any source of port range. There is no port range. If you want to give port range like port 8080 or 80 like this, then destination, any destination, or if you give any IP address, suppose this IP address, this PC or this network cannot, anybody cannot go through by the RDP, then you can check here that one. So I'm taking here any service custom means which type of service you know, HTTP or HTTPS. Suppose this one is for web, SSH, RDP, this one for remote desktops, so remotely connection. MySQL, MS SQL, we know these are the database. It's admin center. FTP, file transfer protocol. SMTP is the mail system. DNS, POP3, IMAP is the ping. Like this, lot of services there. You can make rules of their protocol, any protocol, TCP/IP, not UDP, not ASMP, any protocol can come. Action is this one is important. Action, allow or deny. Which one you will do, allow or deny? Then priority should be like there's a range 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 like this, 6, 500, 101 like this. And the name you can give any name. And description, if you want to give description to know about more or to understand about more, then you can give. Sometimes we need to description if you have a lot of if your network is big, your virtual network is large, then you have put a lot of security rules, then it will be better to give some description so later you can understand. Then you can give add, then it rules is coming here. Okay, these are the things. I'm just making no here. Okay, and suppose now my network security group is ready. So whom we will apply? So here is the options, subnets, associate. These rules will be applied in this virtual network in these subnets. Okay, this way we can link this, we can impose these rules into that subnets. This is the network security groups. This is the just now I show security rules of ingress and egress. Ingress is the inbound and egress is the outbound security rules. Then service endpoint. Service endpoint is the service that it is used only for Azure storage purpose. Suppose you have Azure storage and you want to connect Azure storage like some service, Prostage SQL, Memes SQL like this. Then what happened? What is the architecture? Architecture is like that. That when it is normally connected, there is storage account and VMs. Any VMs is connected through a public IP. So it is a problem that when you're using public IP, there is a chance to go for internet or internet accessible. And public IP, as you know, public IP is not for free if it use. So Azure storage also use a public IP, and their machines also use a public IP or subnet public IP. Machines should be use a public IP. Then they can connect. Now, if we put a service endpoint here, there's option of service endpoint. Then what happened? This service endpoint convert the public IP as a private IP here, and this private IP, public IP also private IP here, and they can connect with each other through the private IP. No need to public IP as a net gateway, one kind of net gateway there. He's doing this perform as a net gateway. This is using for some service, not every service. There is some particular service here. I will show you which service you can use these options. So I'm go again for portal to check. So home, suppose I'm virtual networks, there's VNet here. In that virtual network, suppose any machines of that network want to, or these virtual networks want to connect with any SQL server or SQL server. It means that the machines who are under these virtual networks, then they can use this service endpoints. Like add service. These are the service. Which are the service? Service Azure Active Directory, Cosmos DB, Congenitive Service, Container Registry, Event Hub, Key Vault, Service Vault, SQL Storage, Microsoft Web. These are the service they can use service endpoints. Suppose Microsoft Web. If you want to web access, as I know that we need public IP address. But if you use this service endpoint, then public IP, this service endpoint make conversion of public IP address to private IP address. So your public IP is not disclosed to the network. So it is a one kind of security that your public IP is not disclosed. So anyone cannot access through by knowing your public IP address. So these are the things, these are the services you can use. Suppose I took here Microsoft SQL, then subnets. Which subnets in this network? Which subnets? The PCs from which subnets or the VMs which subnets can use this Microsoft SQL through the service endpoint? You can select here. It can be you can be create multiple or you can be single any if you want. Then just now you can check one thing. There is a message here. With service endpoint, the source IP address for the service traffic from these subnets switch from using public IPv4 address to using private IPv4 address. As I told before, if anyone wants to go service and access with this SQL or Microsoft SQL server storage, then that machine will automatically have a public IP address, and storage SQL also have a public IP address. So there's a two public IP address exposed to each other in the network to connect. But now what happened? By using service endpoint, these are converted. This service endpoint take the public IP address and convert. Sorry. as a private IP address, as well as from the Azure storage also. So they're converting these two public IP addresses and public IP address as a private IP address, and they connect with each other. So your public IP address is not exposed in the network. So it is written here. And somehow when we are making the network, so we will have always a firewall, and firewall there is the option of converting this IP or restriction this public IP's protection, so not to disclose. So there is some rules. There's some rules. So these rules is like this, that there's some rules. So you have to allow these rules from the, if you have that type of rules, then you have to allow these rules to service endpoint rules in your firewall. Otherwise, it will not work. This just give a message. So we have no that type of firewall rules. So we can give add here, but I'm not giving add here. And I don't want to make my network more, complex. Just as it is, I will put it as it is, just showing you this ones. And as you know, everyone is in Azure portal. Everyone is for as pay as you go. I have to pay or my credit, from my credit, it will deduct. So I'm just not adding, I'm just showing you. But procedure is same as it is. I'm just showing them. So finished service endpoint. Now is application security gateway. It means ASG. Application security gateway groups, security groups enables you to configure network security as a natural extension of an application structure. It means by application structure, you can enforce your security on that application. I'm just showing here. Just now we read NSG. There's a network security group. Network security group, what happened? We just putting subnets, associate the subnets and putting what? That subnets, we put some rules that it will do under these subnets. But now it is not thinking about subnet. We are thinking now totally different, going to the application. Suppose we make an application. In this application, we have three types of boundaries. One is web server, one is app server, and one is DB server. In my business logic, it is showing that web server will connect with app server and no need to connect with DB server. If he needs any DB data, then they will connect from the app server, not directly connect with the DB server. And DB server what needs? If DB server needs something from want to give something web server, then he will use app server, and app server can access both of them. And there is a last logic, that one is internet from the other side, outside of the network, that internet people can access only my web server. They will not use my app server. They could not access my app server and DB server. Whatever the subnet is here, I don't care. That one, you will create one application security group, ASG1, suppose for web server, ASG2 for app server, and ASG DB server. And you will put rules in the ASG1, this group ASG1, that this web server is only accessible for internet and app server. And ASG2 for app server, you put rules that it will go for, it is allow for DB server and web server, but not allow for internet. Then DB server ASG3, you put that ASG3 is allow rules for access only app server, not DB server, not internet. Then what happened? Suppose any PC later, now we start for three PCs, three PC, three PCs. Now again, one web server PC add, we just tag it with as a ASG1. So all the rules of ASG1 will be automatically applied to that PC. Whatever it is in the that's energy subnet doesn't care about that one. Subnet is not caring about that one. This is that group is caring that rules. Okay. Now firewall. Azure firewall is, we know as a firewall. Firewall what? Firewall is controlling your traffic. How traffic is going, how traffic is coming, which traffic you want to block, which traffic we want to allow, like this. This is the Azure firewall. Azure, as I told, Azure firewall is the uh, one of the expensive things in expensive service in Azure, and it is a platform as a service. Okay, so it can provides both east, west, north, south, every traffic inspection. There is no restricted instruction and high build availability. It's always in available and unrestricted cloud scalability. Scalability means it depends on your demands. It change its scalable. It changes properties. So it is totally stateful. So this is Azure Firewall. You can put Azure Firewall here. I will show you. And there is a Azure Firewall Manager. And Azure Firewall Manager is now recently introduced. This is a central-based security policy. Suppose in Azure Firewall, in normally what we happen, we have Azure Firewall. But like this, in a network, we can have a lot of Azure Firewall in demands. So Azure Central Firewall Manager centrally you can see the how they are working, what is their architecture in that service. So there is a two type of architecture. One is secured virtual hub, another is hub virtual network. Secured virtual hub is like hub and spoke architecture type. Each VNet is associated with that hub, and hub virtual network is not secured. It is a suppose different VNet. It's coming with that Azure firewall. I'm just giving a glimpse because these are the topics, is a advanced topics, and uh, maybe one class needed for this to cover all the things about Azure Firewall Manager or Azure Firewall. I'm just showing you in my portal. As it is, you just go there and write firewalls. So here is firewall policies is here. The firewall manager is here. So I'm giving the firewalls here. So there's a firewall, no firewalls is here. So create the firewalls. You can just create here firewalls like this, loading resource group, give the resource group test, name, test firewall. You can give any name. Southeast Asia, no, we always work with S2S. Availability zone, if you need availability zone, and this what is availability zone, it's another topics. Maybe you know these topics, or if you want, then you can search the search these things in the net, or maybe there will be session for with this firewall SQ is the same things. There is some SQ is there. So I'm premium. It's a depends. SQ depends on the prices. So I'm giving a basic. So firewall policy, there is no policy here. So you can give a new policy from here, add new, just taking the name of the policy name, which type of policy, standard or premium, this type. So policy name, any policy name you can give public policy, Southeast Asia, no, East US. Then you can give OK. Then it will come here. Virtual network, use existing. So which one? We have create one VNet. So this is stating that for Starlink requests for virtual network have a subnet named Azure Virtual Manager subnet. So look, if you want to give anything from here, so as we told that firewall will create some public IP address or private IP address to last as a which one we read. Suppose in ASG uh, for service endpoint, there is telling that there is a public IP address for conversion or something of for this firewall configuration. This is the things the firewall configuration is telling another subnet for Azure Virtual Management subnet. So I have to create this one another subnet with this name, then this partial network can apply here. Public IP address, if you know, there's no, or if you don't need, then give it none, or add new here, any public IP address. So like this, there is a lot of things, then you can create, review and create. And now firewall manager, we can check firewall manager. This is the firewall manager I'm telling you. Here it is the look, total glimpse of my networks, VNets. It will come automatically if your application gateway will work but doesn't use. So if you use any services security related, then it will all come here. Then look, virtual networks, as I told you, two types of, one is virtual networks is come here. And if it is virtual hubs, there is no hubs here. We can create hub, because in every virtual networks we are not we it is supposed to that every network has only one firewall we can use. That's why it is coming that virtual networks. And virtual hubs means if you make a hub, that two or three or four, five networks in one firewall, then it will be, if we functioning or configure like this way, then it will come here. DDoS partner, if we have any DDoS protection plans, which is the plans. Security partner providers, we have any extra security providers, it will be here. Like this, it's a centralized of firewall, architecture and firewall services. Then I have Bastion host. Bastion host is a very interesting thing. As we know that from the outside of the internet, if you want to access with our PC in Azure virtual, then we need to RDP. As we know, for PC, not everywhere. If you need to connect with the from internet through any network, then we need RDP. And how we need? We have to need one public IP address. Without public IP address, we cannot access from outside. As you read from first, now you can understand why I came start with public IP. There is some 10 minutes or 15 minutes I talked about IPs, because this one. So this public IP we needs, but there is the option in in Azure that is called Bastion host. If you configure Bastion host, then it will be secured with TLS. It means the data will be encrypted with SSH and TLS with 443 port, and it will go through Azure Bastion, and no need public IP address for accessing the any Azure VM virtual machine. So this is very interesting. So let's check from my portal. So first of all, I need to add one virtual machine. Virtual machines. So I create one virtual machines. I think everybody knows that one. CISO's group test here. Virtual machine name, any name I can give. Test, I gave STUS. Availability zone, or no problem, zone 1. Just keep it as it is. Standard Windows. This is Ubuntu. I make it Windows 10 Pro. Okay, 64-bit standard. Okay, no problem. Username, I pick here. Suppose I already create one, DevOps here. So I put password here to log in. Now public inbound ports. Port is okay because I need the port. I confirm LLC. Now disk, I'm going for disk. This premium, no need premium because it will cost effective. To standard, I pick just lowest price. If you need more disks here, you can click here. Now networking, most important part now. So test VNet as it is came here. VNet 1 default. Yeah, just you can give. Suppose I am giving subnet A. It will come from 10.1 like this. Public IP. I don't need public IP. Now check. Without public IP, I will connect with Bastion host. Load balancing, no need because these are the cost effective. Next management, next for monitoring, it's okay. The advanced, no need. Tax, no need. Now I create review and create. Validation is going. If it is all parameters, if I have given correctly, then it will pass the validation. It's checking. Yes, validation passed. Now create. I'm just telling you in advance, it may take some time because it is creating a virtual machines means a full machines. So it's creating some time and deployment will maybe take some time. As we think that it is a very easy process that we are just clicking next, but in the backend there is one agent who are doing for this in on behalf of us. So it is deployment is going on. No, one by one is coming. As I told, it may take some time. Now it's starting, it's taking. Now we can check here. Deployment is progress. So we have nothing to do, just wait for deployment, the VM. Sorry for taking time. We have to give some time. There is no options. We are just waiting. Checking whether it's ready or not. Virtual machines. Not ready yet. Creating, no status is creating here. So when it is done, then it will be say completed. Windows system, you can find here all the things here. In the meantime, we can go any other topics. It is going on, but now we can go for net gateway. In the meanwhile, we can check about network gateway. Net gateway is a system or service. As we know that in internet, if you want to go internet, then we have need public IP address. But as you know that in subnet, every subnet has a private IP address. We configure as a public IP address. So if you want to go to the internet, then there is a net. There will be a net system where this public IP address will convert it in the net and it makes a public IP, one public IP or any group of public IP. As you know, in the subnet, suppose here is 255 IP addresses. It means 251 user host IP is there. So if in all can go together, so from the net they are assigning that one public IP, for to go outside of the internet. This service is called net gateway. Net means network address translation service. It means it's translate from public IP to private IP. And when data came from the outside to the your subnet, then it is coming with the public IP address, then it is converted to the destination private IP, and it is go through like that subnet. So this is like this way it is going for, and that simplifies outbound internet connectivity network when configured on a subnet or outbound connectivity as well. So let's check again about that. Creating is still going on. When it's done, it will take some time. Okay, now this one is the for net gateway. Then DNS. What is DNS? We know DNS. DNS is the domain name server service. It means, or server, it means, as we know that computer knows only numbers and IP address, and we knows the human readable things like www.facebook.com, www.google.com. When we request for www.google.com, it not going www.google.com. Every website has a unique IP address. The server reads that IP address, and who make this conversion? DNS make this conversion. And Azure has in built-in DNS system where you can use your computer, your any website hosting any others, and you can use in the DNS here. You can configure the DNS server here with Azure to give some parameters from your your hosting company, or you can use as a private DNS. Private DNS means suppose you make one VM, and their VM you make a web server, and that web server you put one website or any default website of your company or internal use, and that PC's name private IP address is 10.0.0.4. Now you go in your private DNS in Azure and you configure some parameters there and indicate that that DNS name is private.contoso.com. So 10 dot when you put private.contoso.com, it will connect through the this 10.0.0 port. It will DNS, your system knows that private, if anyone asks for private.contoso.com, then your system will put them or take them to the machine 10.0.0.4. So this is the Azure DNS works, how it works. Azure load balancer. Azure load balancer is another interesting thing. It is balancing your traffic, incoming network traffic across. There is some backend levels of backend pool of virtual machines, and there is a rules, some load balancing rules. By load balancing rules, you can make the the proper way of balancing your traffic. So here in the graphics representation, I'm just showing you client machine. He wants to access some things or access some apps or access service in your virtual in your way in your cloud. Then he will go with the front end IP address. It may be public or private. There are two load balancer, one is public and private. So this is the IP addresses who can convert public or private. Then there is a rules, some load balancing rules. What is the rules? Is many different rules. Like first of all rules, it can be that first request will come, it will go for first virtual machine, then second request will go second virtual machines, third request will go third virtual machines, and so on. Or you can be used as a percentage, but that 40% of request will go virtual machine 1, then 30% will go virtual machine 2, and then last 30% will go virtual machine 3. Or it can be depends on the capacity, or it can be depends on availability, or it can be depends on suppose in users, like 40% of uh, 40% of all usage will be here, or 50% all usage will be here, like this. So this is the load balancing rules. And so there is the public and private load balance. Public load balance is, suppose we have a website, and in the website we have in front end here web tier, and there's a business tier means there's some logical tier and some database tier is here, subnets, then VMs is here, and the web tier subnets VM is here. So when it is coming from the outside of the internet, outside of the network, then it's coming from the internet using port 80. It goes with public load balancer. Before it access any subnet, it will go pass through the public load balancer, and public load balancer will check the rules as we define in the load balance, and with that rules, according to that rules, he is using, he let use the VMs, and VMs are used like by the load balancer. After that, suppose if this VM needs some data from business tier subnet, then there will be an internal load balancer who have some rules as well as like this or differently. Suppose it here you rules about first come first serve, then first, then second, and here you make a rules like usage wise that 40% will be here, request 30% will be here, 30% will be here. It will go like this way. This is the public load balancer and private load balancer. Public load balancer dealing with public IP, and private load balancer will dealing with private IP address. And there is another is Azure application gateway. This is like same like managed traffic, but it is on the web traffic, only web address traffic. Suppose you have a web system or web service here, then browser asking application gateway with front-end IP is public IP, and it will go with the listener with the port with the service of HTTPS. Then there will be a rules, and these rules will allow which way it can use backend VM. It can be any VM, a group of VM, or on-prem service in your premises service. Application gateway is two type. One is rule path URL path based routing, and another is multiple site routing. URL path based routing is like this way. Suppose we have a website. In that website, we have some images and some videos. When any user wants to access that images, this application gateway take it to the image server pool. And if anyone wants to see the video, then this go take him to this video server pool. If there is any another pool like data pool, then if anyone wants to see any information, that it will go to the data pool. This is the URL path based routing. And multi-site means suppose in one application gateway can handle lot of site, lot of applications. Like one is contoso.com and is fabricam.com. So if anyone wants to use on contoso.com, then it will go like contoso pool VMs. And if anyone wants for fabricam.com, then it will go for fabricam pool. That is a web app. It will go like this pool. So this pool means this subnet, same pool subnet, and everything may be same. So these are the application gateway. So let's check whether it's yes, no, it's already doing. Oh, 13 minutes. It should be done. Let's check what happened. So this is the machines. Public IP address is here. Why it's come here? I make it off. Let's check whether it's possible to deassociate with this or not. Checking. There should be option discard. You can see DNS name level as we discussed. You can put a DNS level here for this against this public IP address. So it is not creating. That's why I cannot. There is some option is disabled. So I cannot make these things. I can tell yes. Suppose deassociate. I remove this public IP address. I don't need this public IP address. I deassociate this. with my virtual machines. Okay, now virtual machines. So there is no public IP address, I think. Yes, no public IP address. We have a virtual network subnet A. Now I'm going for Bastion, like to Bastion host, Bastion. So create Azure Bastion using defaults. It means you can go configure your own way, but it will be better to give as a default. Default will be better. It will easy and it will be correct way. So when it is finished, it will come here created. New Bastion. Look, here is written Bastion pricing starts with an hourly base rate. It is cost effective Bastion because it is not, it is a security service, so it will give you a cost effective. So meanwhile, we will check again other resources, other topics. So traffic manager is another thing. It is DNS based traffic that whenever there is a some options in traffic manager, you can put some options like as we used to before, that in the endpoint it will be high availability, in the region based or quick responsive. It means that suppose a browser is asking one site which was in the Germany region, we put, as we see that we can put network as a east US southeast any place. So suppose it is in Germany endpoint. So whenever he asks this service or that website user, then what happened? It is going DNS query, and DNS query send it to traffic manager. If we put a configuration or add a traffic manager, then traffic manager directly told that don't go through the network or route table or anything. Directly he gave access to the that region, Germany region endpoint, and it is going directly. Okay, it is public distribution traffic like this way. It may be high availability. If we put their high availability, then if anyone asks for the any service, then it will check which one is high availability. He directly access that high availability. No need to go for any routing table or routing or any other application gateway or any other things. Or if you go for any quick responsive, so which one is responsive more, you can put here, or you can configure that which one is quick responsive. Then that browser will directly access that quick responsive through the Azure Traffic Manager. This all the information is giving by the Azure Traffic Manager. So this is the express route. It's very important, and it is very important, and also it is very doubtful. With it is very doubtful. Like express route is very similar to VPN gateway. That's why there's some little some difference. So I am clearing this one here. Azure Express route is that you can connect your cloud services in your network, in your on-premise network, by a special service, a special route that is called express route circuit. But it is like a VPN gateway, but it will not be in the internet. It will be not in the internet. It will be encrypted and more secure. It will be speed is more, and latency will be very less, and security will be most higher. It's not higher only, it is most higher. Because why? Why? Because there is a partner edge by Microsoft. There are some partners who is giving you some configuration by here, your premises, on premises to your partner edge. Partner edge means here is some device or configuration will done in behalf of you by the partner edge. For this, you have to give some cost effective. You have to give some cost from here. Then there will be another edge. It's in Microsoft Edge. It will be a configuration of devices or softwares, and they are connected through a tunnel, a encrypted tunnel. This is called express circuit, route circuit. One is prime, two tunnel will be there, primary and secondary. One is, if one is broken or if there is a problem with one connection, then automatically this connection will active. And that way we can passing your data, transferring your data securely and fast. Okay, so after finish, then you can go for express route, the C, the how you can configure. Let's check. Yes, now it is still in Bastion host. So meanwhile, again, we just show the VPN. The virtual network gateway create, just showing here. Okay, now name, any name, VP Express VPN, EXP VPN, then East US. Look, here is gateway tag. Which one gateway use? VPN or express route? As we are going for express route, we give express route. Then standard, then virtual network. With virtual network, test VNet. If we give here, look, another, suppose Central US, what happened? There is no gateway subnet address. You cannot find address because, look, there is no address because we change the region. In that region, we don't have any resource, subnet resource. So that's why it's not coming anything. East US. Now you can check all our existing virtual network, VNet. This is the gateway subnet address. This came here. Public IP address. Create new or use existing. If you need existing, then you can create here. There's a test IP we create already. Configure BGP. It's the route information, BGP route. So just if you create here, then it will create express route. Then what happened? We need express route circuit. Just create, but now you need to make the circuit. So just we see the circuit, how we configure the circuit, create. Then you can see here, test region east. Yes, name, server XP, CIRC. Next configuration. Then you can see port type provider. We are not going directly. We use like with the provider. New import classic, create new. Here is the create is provider. Look, these are the provider. As we say you, these are the providers. You have to choose anyone from here. Zayo, Excel, Axiata, Vodafone, any. Regional peering, which one will be region? Jakarta. From Jakarta, it will be start. Bandwidth, how much bandwidth we need? News or 1 Gbps. SQE standard like this. When you create, then it will create a express route like this. This circuit, sorry, this circuit will create with that provider partner edge. Provider partner edge will take some responsible for the connection and for some configuration. Then it will connect with Microsoft Edge, and there will be a express route circuit. And then data will your on-premise data and your cloud data will communicate each other, transfer with each other in a secure, reliable way. So this is express route. Now let's check about whether it is best and is finished or not. Still. Yet virtual machines. Still, best is updating its status, updating. Not great yet. Will take some time, Bastion. Okay, meanwhile, so after that, it is a Azure VPN gateway. As you know, VPN gateway using the internet service, and in the internet there will be a tunnel. With that tunnel, VPN with that tunnel, you can connect with your network gateway and your Azure cloud service with your uh, on-premise data, on-premise network. So it will be a tunnel and it will go through the internet, no, your internet, and it will depends on your gateway bandwidth. So, it will be a multiple, it may be a multiple gateway connection and VIP tunnel and share in the same gateway bandwidth. So it can be slow and latency can be as it depends in the local bandwidth. So there is a three types of VPN. One is site-to-site VPN. Site-to-site VPN is like this way that you have a site. Site means a subnet, a full network, and you have full network, and they are connecting through the VPN gateway with some tunnels, with VPN gateway with some tunnels in your Azure. There is a site to site. There's a lot of subnets, and there is also more than two or three subnets, and there is also more than two three subnets. They are coming with a tunnel, IPsec tunnel, and it's going through the VPN gateway. There will be a configuration of VPN. You just keep the configure IP configuration with them, and there will be a configuration we will talk with you about later. So it will, like this way, it will connect your you can your on-premise data, on-premise network to your virtual Azure virtual network. So another is point to site. Point to site means suppose in your home you are is a one user and you want to go with your virtual network, then there is a tunnel. So this one is the VPN client and VPN tunnel, and this one is called the point to site. One point to a site VPN gateway. Same architecture is the same. Tunnels architecture is the same. Just the purpose of the one is for site to site. That one is group of subnets or a group of network, and another one is only one user or one network user. And another one is VNet to VNet. Suppose in your virtual network, one virtual network and another virtual network want to connect to each other, then it will be also a tunnel wise, and it will be called the site to site VPN. It is also VPN tunnel. It can connect with each other. Then it is called site to site VPN connection, VNet to VNet connection. So let's check again about Bastion. Not again. It is telling that updating. Not yet. Bastion, not yet. Virtual machines. Let's check again. Subscription. Taking some time. Let's see another topics. Local network gateway. The local network gateway is a part of a VPN gateway. Suppose as you see that there is, when we go for site to site VPN, then what happened? There is a multiple subnets, and there is a multiple subnets. They are connecting with VPN, but through a tunnel in a VPN gateway. But there it will be a one hardware or software configuration in your local site, in your on-premise site. This configuration or the software and hardware configuration is called local network gateway. Okay, so in the local network gateway, you have some devices or routers. For gateway, as a gateway, you're using some routers, like it can be Zyxel, it can be Cisco, it can be firewall, Cisco firewall, it can be MikroTik, it can be Fortinet, anything. So how you will configure? I have one uh, e- link here. This is the links about VPN devices and IPsec IP parameters of site-to-site VPN gateway connection. In your local gateway, local network, there is a lot of device configuration guide. With this guide, if you follow this guide, then you can easily configure your local network gateway. This is the Cisco CSR, ASR, ASA, Cisco ASA firewalls, ISR like Meraki, Edge version, Critics F5, Fortinet, Fujitsu, Juniper. There's a lot of Junipers there. Microsoft there, Sophos, configure guide, Sophos. Suppose if you click here, configure guide, it will come here. Like this, there's a lot of Sophos firewall PPN. You can click here, Azure, then it will come here. So let's check our best here. So here is the guide, from configuration guide, how you can configure step by step is there, so you can follow and you can do it. Take time. So local network gateway is there. The last is VNet to VNet pairing. VNet pairing is, suppose in a virtual network, we know these subnets and these subnets, and this subnet and this subnet can access, the species can access each other like they're in the same network as is one as, but you are in the different subnet. But we can also pairing with one VNet to other VNet in the same region. So suppose north central region. In same central region, you have two VNet, and two VNet we can access with each other, connect with each other like the pairing. It will when we will do the pairing, then it will work like it is the same as this wave one can access wave 4. They are in the same network. But when we will go for different region, then it needs a VPN. So same region, what we will do, it calls the VPN pairing, VNet pairing. So VNet pairing are two types. One is regional VNet pairing, this one, and global VNet pairing is the whole across the global, and it needs VPN. So let's check. Stuck here. Portal again. I can portal Azure. Sometime it becomes problem. So thank you all. These are the topics I try to cover about Azure Virtual Network. So sorry for this inconvenient issues, technical issues from my portal. So far Bastion host, I cannot show you Bastion host, as you can uh, just you can follow the configuration. Bastion host will come automatically from Bastion host. Let's try last time whether I can do or not. Let's check last time Bastion host. Or so Bastion host. If it's coming, then good. Yes, came. So connect. So in the open in the browser, it will open in the browser, and it will go the my PC remotely. Look, it's connecting. So look, it's DevOps, it's connect. There's username DevOps, and we have no private public IP. Without public IP, I'm connecting remotely through the Bastion host. And you know, there are few, not lot of, there are few things is there uh, need to know, except need to know elaborately, but there is suppose some net gateway or Azure firewall. Actually, this type of topics need a full class to discuss about only these topics. So if we have opportunity, we will definitely we will have session like this type, these topics again in future. So I am shutting down this one. Sorry. Okay, close. So for end of this today's session, so any questions is there? You can ask the questions. Uh, so I'm hand over the session to Surag. Surag, are you there?
Thank you, Yasin, for the session. It was really resourceful, and there were there were a lot of topics that we covered today, even though there was a really little time. So thank you for that. I hope everyone here has an idea about the today's topic, Azure networking. And if you have any doubts or questions, you will be able to ask in the chat box. Please to drop it in the chat box. We can so we can read it. We are not able to give you the mic option since a lot of people are here.
One question is there. Can we have a copy the lecture or notes? Yes, I will send the lectures to the Surag. Surag can distribute with you.
Sure.
We can we use suppose another one is telling, can we use one public, just let's me is going so fast. Can we use one public IP for many server application in Azure? No, you cannot, because I told that one public IP is for one unique IP address, it's for one server. Any other? Basically I got the whole idea. How can you get E-card means how can we get E-card? I cannot understand. Please tell me. Vinny, Antonio, can you tell me is more prescribely that what is what you mean by E-card? May I can get the video? It's depend. Surag will say about this.
The video will be uploaded shortly after the session is concluded. And the e-certificate, I think he is talking about the e-certificate we are
Oh, okay,
distributing
okay.
for that recording or the session. So it'll be sent out after some time since a lot of people hasn't filled out that attendance form. Please do fill out that so we can distribute it and
There
probably in the
is
evening or the tomorrow.
Suraj, there is one another question. How can we get learning subscription? Learning subscription you can get if you are a student. Then there will be if you is a student, then you should be have a subscription by your college or institute. From there you can get the free. There's some free subscription there for 200 credit or 100 credit. You can get from there free subscription. Learning something as a student you can learn. Which approach is ideal for accessing the client VM using VPN or a Bastion host? Actually, Bastion host is different. Bastion host is you are going to connect with the browser, and VPN is the VPN is the the tunnel, the secure tunnel. Bastion host you can use the little bit, but you can your purpose will serve little bit, but it will be always is definitely it is VPN. In the VPN you can there is a lot of full subnet you can there's only one VM you can connect, but in the by VPN you can full subnet you can connect it, so it will be VPN. And the next lecture will be conducted on cybersecurity and network security. It depends on Surag. So any other questions? How can we protect the Bastion host? Bastion is already protected. There is a service. It is a protect security service. So there is no need to use no need think about this protection. Actually, which service is giving by Azure, they are protecting themselves. So you don't need to be too much headache on this. Thank you all. So I have one question. Do you have any webinar or another webinar like this? Uh, is yes, I am interested to do some webinar. In future, you will get information from Surak. Kubernetes, Kubernetes is another things. Yes, I can teach Kubernetes and things. Today's topics is for networking only. Kubernetes, these are the topics we'll cover DevOps, Azure DevOps. How long the certificate? Can you use public load balancer to route one public IP into several VM based on URL and destination domain name? Again, can we use public load balancer? Yes, to route one public IP into yes, you can. Can you use public load balancer to route one public IP into several VM? Of course you have. Of course you can. It architecture is like this. Traffic is coming from public IP and it is now it's going with several VM based on some rules. Thank you very much.
I think there is no other questions related to the topic. So then we can wind up for today's session then. Mm. And thank you all again for joining today's session. And the recording will be available in our YouTube channel, and the e-certificate will be provided after some time or tomorrow morning. And thank you again for using this incredible session for the attendees, and hoping to have more session with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.